Welcome, everyone, to our August 17th Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. If you would, pray with me. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the gifts we receive from you. Today we petition you that you give the Charlottesville community peace and healing, that you especially lift up those folks that lost their lives. And as we converse locally about these issues, we thank you for giving us the wisdom and the courage and the knowledge to have an honest and civil conversation. We ask that you watch over the men and women who serve in our armed forces, as well as all of our emergency responders. I ask for wisdom and understanding for this court. Grant us humility in our everyday life, and give us the courage to make right decisions for all of our Daviess County community. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Entertain them for a while. I've got to get my glasses. I'd probably lose my head if it wasn't attached. First item of business.
Public hearing relating to the discontinuance of a portion of Old Wayne Bridge Road.
Okay, this is a hearing that we should have when we're going to take a portion of the transportation infrastructure out of service and perhaps return it to those adjacent property owners. We have had a petition to do so. I think, Claude, we have gone through all the legal steps.
We have, Judge. We're going through all
we're
the
going
steps.
through some of those steps. Mark, we've appointed viewers, and they have viewed the road.
We have.
Anyone from the public here to speak about the discontinuance of that road, section of road? And for anybody that wants to know, when they realigned the road, they built a new bridge. It left a piece of roadway that went down and ended at a creek. We have had a petition that asks us to close it and return that property to the adjacent property owners. I think the property owner is here this evening. I see no public comment, so let's move on.
Did you want to ask to move the resolution?
You want me to? Come on, Jenny. I never had this trouble with Jenny. Yeah, I started on her, George. Commissioners, if you would, I would like to ask that we move resolution number 15-2007, a resolution approving the Daviess County Health Department Board imposing the special ad valorem tax increase of ½ cent per $100 valuation to the Daviess County Public Health Taxing District tax rate. I need a motion to move it up, and let's talk about it now.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, I have Clay Horton, the newly minted director of the Daviess County Health Department, here to speak to you. I serve as the chair of the Daviess County Health Department by virtue of the fact, I guess, that no one else will do it, but the fact that I'm also the Daviess County Judge Executive. Daviess County Health Department is a member of the Green River Health Department, Health District. That district is made up of the 7 members of the GRAD district. That would be Hancock, Ohio, Davis, Union, Webster, Henderson, and McLean. We all participate or are assessed every year certain amounts of money to provide for public health in our individual counties. The last tax increase regarding the public health portion was somewhere in the late 1980s, if I'm not mistaken, Clay.
That's correct.
Now, a health district is not constrained the way a county is. A county or a library taxing district or any other taxing districts are restrained by the 4% rule. You can take up to a 4% increase in your tax without being subject to recall. That is not the case with a health district, a health taxing district. They are not subject to recall. Since I am the chair, I'm fairly familiar with the finances. We have 2.5 cents per $100 of valuation that goes toward the operation of the Daviess County Health Department assessed through the Green River Health District. 1 cent was imposed when they built the new buildings. Now, many of you know and remember the old Daviess County Health Department down on 4th Street. It was a pretty dilapidated place. Since I have become judge, we have been paying off early that debt. We get more money in than we need for the debt service, and we get more money in than we need for maintenance. So we have been taking that excess money, delaying it a year and paying it off. Hopefully we will have that building paid off by 2020, at which time that 1 cent, the need for the 1 cent won't completely go away because there will be maintenance on the building. The building will be older and there will have to be maintenance done. When the Green River Taxing Authority, the Green River District, asked us to increase the rate, they asked that we increase the rate from 3.5 cents to 5 cents, in effect increasing it by 1.5 cents. That was a pretty good increase in the tax rate, and the folks in this community have been hit on all sides with increases in taxes, increases for water, electricity, sewer, and we had a pretty healthy reserve, about $1.5 million in reserve. So there was a proposal to increase it by 1.5 cents, and that proposal was voted down. There was a pretty good discussion. I think, Clay, you were there. There was.
I was not.
Oh, you big chicken! You didn't want to be
no,
associated with it.
I had another engagement that day,
Okay.
so that was
But
before my
there was a
appointment as
healthy-
director. So
I was there. There was a healthy discussion, and that was voted down. Then the proposal was made that, look, let's add 0.5 cent, and 0.5 cent for your, just so you'll have something to compare it to. If you have a $100,000 piece of property, 0.5 cent adds $5. Now, I don't want to minimize $5. I came from a family of 12 kids, and $5 would have done a lot for us. But still, it's $5 to assure that we have sufficient funds to take care of public health in Daviess County and the Green River region. There was quite a bit of discussion because it was going to require us to take monies out of our reserve account to meet the new assessment by Green River. I think with this 0.5 cent increase, we will go from about 1.5 million in reserve to about 950,000. That's the first year. The conversation was next year we will look at imposing another 0.5 cent. That will get us pretty close to where we don't take a lot out of reserve, and we'll still have over $500,000 in reserve, which will be sufficient. It will cover percentage-wise the little bit of debt that we have on the building, or not debt, but the operation and maintenance. And by 2020, when we might have put the other 0.5 cent on so that we would be whole, it will be time not to debt service our building anymore. So there will be 1 cent that we could take off depending on circumstances. So that was the proposal of that taxing authority, the Daviess County Health Department Taxing Authority. And since they have increased it, Claude, now you come in, we need, as the fiscal court, to approve their resolution.
Recognize the resolution that
to
they have to
recognize
impose
their
that.
resolution.
Right,
We're
yes.
not imposing the tax, but we're saying we recognize that resolution. that increases the tax.
And so that it can be placed
So
on
that
the
it can
tax
be
bill.
placed on the tax bill. Clay, did I need you here, or was that a pretty good representation?
That was a pretty good representation, Judge. A couple of points to clarify, though. It is true that public health taxing districts aren't under the rule of the compensating rate, which is the 4% that you had mentioned. However, we are restrained, or the taxing districts are restrained by another statute, and it actually sets a tax rate. So that statute sets the minimum tax rate for every public health taxing district at 1.8 cents per $100 assessed value, and a maximum of 10 cents. Okay. So, you know, it is true that we're not subject to the compensating rate, but there is some restraint on public health taxing districts.
So you couldn't go in and say, we're going to make it 15 cents. We're going to equal the county's rate of 13.5 cents.
That's correct. That could not be done.
Okay, that's one. What's the other?
The District Board of Health, which is made up of representation from the 7 county individual boards of
Largest
health.
percentage comes from Daviess County.
That's
because of
correct.
largest
The representation on that board is determined by population of the county. Right. So, and there's a limit to 7 members. Daviess County has 7 members of that governing body, and they set annually, when they consider a budget, what they call the contribution rate. Mm-hmm. And what that is what percentage of tax dollars they need for operations of the health department. The local taxing district elects representation to the district governing body. They set the tax rate, they maintain the property, and sometimes the Daviess County has taken on special projects. Mm-hmm. But all the operations of the health department are funded out of that, either the contribution rate from the counties, or what we generate in terms of revenue from billing, insurances, Medicaid, fees for services, grants, state and
there
federal
is
funds.
some revenues outside of the tax revenue.
About 75% of our revenues are not taxes.
Now, who sets the minimum health standards for the county, for the district?
It varies. Most of those, in terms of what is required by statute, is set by the legislature and by state government. Right. And so the discussion with the district board had to do with what was the minimum necessary of services that needed to be provided, and then what type of revenue that was needed for that. And then I will say that there are a lot of those legal standards and requirements are unfunded. Yes. Your local monies or additional revenue that we can generate from other sources, such as medical billing, is what funds that.
Just in the interest of full disclosure, another proposal was also presented or talked about, which was that Daviess County could withdraw from the Green River Health District. And I think that what we discovered was, while there have been some counties that have done that, that it was going, if they thought 4.5 cents was or 4 cents is a big tax rate, we were going to have much more than that.
That's correct. I mean, that's one of the benefits of being in a district, is that we share a lot of administrative resources. It gives us more ability to be flexible and
And public health knows no boundaries. That mosquito doesn't care whether it's born in Ohio County and resides in Daviess County and feeds in Hancock County.
Yep, that's correct.
Sure. Okay, commissioners, any question or comment?
I have one.
Okay.
So my understanding is that our local health department is funded partially by the tax that he mentioned, and then we send the money that you're assessed to the grad health department, and then the grad health department in turn performs services for our county as well as other counties.
Not GRAD, the Green River.
Green River District.
I mean
Health
the
Department.
Green River.
We share the same geographic boundaries as GRAD, but we not only we perform all the services. So every employee of the health department is paid from the Green River District agency. We hire all the staff, we perform all the services, we buy all the supplies. The only expenses outside of that the local taxing district covers are the building or any capital expenses associated with that. Building maintenance.
Operation of the building, lights and heat and.
Well,
District pays the utilities.
pays the utilities.
Utilities, so, and we take care of normal, routine type maintenance. Air conditioner unit goes out, then that's covered by the taxing
So the
district.
2.5%,
2.5 cents that is currently,
you said goes to operation.
2.5 cents goes to the taxing district, the
Two-
Green River.
But 2.5 cents was the previous contribution rate.
correct.
In
Oh, okay.
January, the district board raised that to 4 cents.
To 4 cents.
So what caused, I mean, I forgot the number for sure, it's a 14% increase. What are they doing different this year than they did last year that caused the,
Well, for a number of years,
Increase.
we've spent down reserves, and there have been a number of things that have changed over the past 8 or 9 years that have drastically changed the way that public health is funded. One, a lot of it has to do with the managed care of Medicaid. Several years ago, the state imposed the Medicaid, traditional Medicaid is partially funded by the federal government and then partially funded by the state. The state made a decision that local health departments would have to self-fund the state portion of Medicaid expenditures. So imagine a doctor's office, a service that they bill Medicaid for, they would take a 30% cut off of the revenue that's coming in. And then also costs associated with the pension and health insurance.
Yeah.
And
With
I'm leaving lots of things out, but
Sure.
it's a combination of things. But basically, we've spent down reserves to the point where the board felt that it was prudent to increase that contribution rate.
And pretty much that's what we have decided, instead of imposing all at one time, that 1.5 cent, that we would spend down some of our reserves. We won't go below what is prudent, financially prudent, but we will spend some of those reserves down to ease the burden on the citizens of Daviess County. Now, some of the other counties have already imposed the tax, it's my understanding, or are anticipating doing that.
Yes, I mean, all the taxing districts have met, all 7. Most of those meetings were in April.
Yeah.
And those tax rates have been set by those boards.
Yes.
And then fiscal courts throughout the region are receiving those resolutions this month.
Anything else, Commissioner? Commissioner, did I see?
I had a question, but Commissioner Wathen
Commissioner
addressed it,
Wathen.
so.
I'm fine.
Okay. Do we have any question or comment by the public? Clay, I told you I'd get you out in 15 minutes. It's going to be 19 minutes. Thank you for taking time away from your child's school night or whatever on such short notice. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Clay. All right. Next item.
First item, consideration for presentation. A, proclaim August 17, 2017 as Women's Equality Day.
Winnie, is that why you came back? Is that why you showed up? You folks didn't know that we have a celebrity in our audience. Winnie Lynn is here. Now, before she and her husband Kenny moved to California, we actually presented Winnie with a little proclamation, and Kenny got mad. He says, "Oh, it's all about Winnie and never about Kenny." So it really gives me some pride and honor to make this proclamation, simply because I have 7 children, or 7 sisters. And what I'm going to talk about in this proclamation describes my sisters to a T, because they absolutely did whatever they were big enough to do and whenever they wanted to do it. And there was no difference between the girls and boys in our family. It was whatever you were big enough to do and whatever you were able to whoop the other one and get away from them. Whereas in 1848, women of the United States began organizing peaceful protests for their right to fully and equally participate in workplaces, libraries, organizations, and public facilities, as well as the right to vote and participate in government. And whereas in 1971, Congress designated August 26 as Women's Equality Day to serve as a symbol of the ongoing fight for equal rights. And whereas on January 16, 1895, a group of 10 Owensboro women formed the Political Equality Club of Owensboro to secure to women the unrestricted exercise of all the rights of citizenship and equal constitutional rights with men and equal protection of the law. And whereas, proudly born in Daviess County in 1921, Clara Sanford Oldham dedicated her life to enhancing the lives of women through numerous achievements, including founding and co-founding many local women's-focused service organizations, and her dedicated focus toward the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment, all of which exemplifies her commitment to ensuring equal rights. And whereas women play a critical role in families, the workplace, and in society as a whole, contributing to our economy and advancing our nation, and through the efforts of many equal rights advocates and champions, we get today to celebrate locally and nationally Women's Equality Day and pay tribute to all women who have and continue to strive for equality. Now, therefore, I, Al Mattingly, Daviess County Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim August 17, 2016, as Women's Equality Day. And here to accept, I assume, is Loma Due. Judy? Well, come ahead and... Just put it off. Oh, well. And if you would have a few comments, you're welcome to please identify yourself for the camera.
My name is Judy Adams. I've lived in Owensboro, Daviess County for 31 years. I am the current president of the Owensboro chapter of the American Association of University Women, and our goal is education and equity for women and girls. So a lot of what we do has to do with empowering women and girls to get an education. We work a lot with Girls Incorporated in order to help those young ladies have a vision and a goal in their lives. On August 24th, we are collaborating with the Daviess County Public Library, and we'll be showing a couple of short documentaries about the struggle for the right to vote, but also to look at where we go from here. How do we use this history to help ourselves, our daughters, our granddaughters, our friends and neighbors? And Loma Due will be facilitating that discussion. So I thank you very much, Al, for your proclamation, and I also thank Jenny, who I know had a hand in this. So thank you, Jenny Warren.
This isn't Jenny, but that's
I'm
okay.
sorry, I didn't
Today,
know. But
today,
yes,
Terry
thanks
is-
to Jenny Warren.
Terry's our Jenny.
Yeah, at least that's
Yeah.
in the minutes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, you know, it sounds like that we need to have you in the conversation that we're currently having about the statue out there, doesn't it? So, thank you very much for being here, and please don't feel like you have to stay. Winnie, you can't leave until the meeting's over. Next item, please. Oh, I guess you better go. Next item.
B, Treasurer's Report for month ended July 2017.
Mr. Hendricks.
Cash on hand, July 31st, of $28,228,554. General fund is $11,722,333. That's the end of the first month of the new fiscal year. Everything's within expectations. I have no further comments.
Question or comment? Next item.
Number 2, consideration for approval. A, minutes of the August 3rd, 2017 court meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, second. Commissioners, you all had a copy of the minutes in your possession for some time. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Before you go any further, Mayor Bikey, I apologize. Typically, we recognize other elected officials show up, and tonight we have Mayor Bikey from Whitesville with us. Welcome to the meeting. Hope you're not here to ask for money. Next item.
B, all claims for all departments.
Motion approved.
I
Second.
have a motion and second. Again, Commissioners, you all had a copy of the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court in your possession for some time. Any questions of the treasurer? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
C, contract with Magnum Welding to repair transfer station trailer floor.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Smith?
Yes, Judge. When the transfer station solid waste department made their budget request this year, they had in there to, instead of buying some trailers this year, they felt that they had some life left in them that was cost effective to turn the floors in the trailers. This is a 2001 trailer. Quite honestly, the other two 2001 trailers have already had their floors turned. So the fact that this one lasted 7 years meant it lived a good life to go this long without the floors being messed up in it. So this gives us a chance to, for a small amount of money compared to the cost of a new trailer, to do some repairs and get another 3 years or so out of the use. This will be the first. I think there's a couple of others that will be coming down the line.
What was the estimated cost of repair?
$13,500.
Best I remember, almost 8 years ago, we were doing this for around 12 maybe, which is not a huge increase in the cost. What was the next? We got quotes. This was under $20,000, so we didn't have to take bids, formal bids, but we did get two prices.
Yes, the next quote was for $19,500. They did contact a third vendor who declined to give a price.
Commissioners, any question or comment?
I think he said it was a 2000 or
2011.
2001. I think you said 2001. It's
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 2011 trailer.
One of the first ones we bought then.
2011. Yeah, one of the first ones that
one of
you
the
all
first
bought.
ones this
Yes.
court bought.
As you all
So-
recall, we had trouble with, we actually bought 3 that year.
Yes, okay. Any other question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
E, White Flag Events, memorandum of agreement with the City of Owensboro and St. Benedict's homeless shelter.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioners, I don't see anyone here who is prepared to talk about this. Claude, are you?
I think I can, Judge. This is the one, agreement with St. Benedict's, as the court is willing, or asked them to provide for emergency management and for shelter during white flag or cold events. And as an incentive, because they are unable to do that without some help in making sure that their current, I guess, storage area or area they're going to use would meet the required standards, health standards and zoning standards. They'll need a $9,000 payment to buy a fire suppression system. And in return for that, they've agreed to house those white flag events for the next 5 years. And I think there's been, on an average, I think we said about 15, and there's a significant cost to emergency management for each one of those events.
Commissioners, I mean, we continue to have issues with homeless, have enough space for the homeless. The $9,000 will allow St. Benedict's to sprinkle a back portion of our garage that they're using for storage and open it up for more folks. Now, they're not going to need that space 365 days a year for the white flag homeless who only come in during certain climate criteria.
I think that's
I do not see in here,
the
Claude,
next page, Judge, there's a $250 per event after that first year, but it would
Yes.
not exceed $5,500 in any one season.
What I don't see is the agreement between the city and the county to pay half that cost.
I don't see one either, Judge, and I don't know of one, so
There-
as
there-
far as I
there-
know, the
there
county is paying
is-
that.
There is an agreement, a verbal agreement. I met with the city manager yesterday, and he said the city was willing to pay half of the $5,500 cost per year. My concern when, for a while, the county's been paying that cost, because at one time prior to Andy taking things over, it kind of was a hodgepodge of when do you do it? And so we actually placed it in the hands of the Homeless Council of Ohio Valley and Andy. And I talked to Bill, and I said I certainly appreciate the city wanting to participate in this. I think very worthy, but I don't know, since it's not in here, I don't know.
That was not one of the things when we talked about it initially, there wasn't.
Well, I understand, but someone in my office knew about it and failed to get it in there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I don't know if we can,
Do
We
we
can-
need to table this, or?
I don't know that we need, my concern is they need to move quickly with the sprinkler system, so they need that money. Now, I don't know that
We
might-
can have a separate agreement with the city that just says they agreed to reimburse us having
Okay,
that
so we're just gonna be the master, and then we'll do a interlocal with the city.
city to
Memorandum of
reimburse.
understanding with the
Yes.
city where they would reimburse us half that cost.
Right.
You think that would
I
work,
think that would work, Judge.
commissioners?
I just had one little question.
Okay.
An event, is that per day, or is that,
That's
for example, if it gets really cold and stays that way 3 days, is that one event?
Yes, that's the way I understand it from the way they described it, yes.
So,
And I agree. I think they need their money right away to go ahead and,
Yeah.
and get this installed.
so if it's all right with you, let's approve this as it is written, and then Claude, you get together with the city, with Ed
I-
and Ray.
I will do
and-
that.
And if Ed needs to have his memory jogged, then,
Okay.
Bill and I resolved this yesterday morning.
All right.
Okay. Any other question or comment? Question or comment by the public? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. And Mayor, quit sending your homeless into Owensboro when we have one of these things. Next item.
F, apply for the Justice Assistant Grant for tasers and related equipment.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Claude, I'm sorry I got into a meeting. I didn't have a time to review this.
I think Sergeant Roby is here to discuss that,
All right.
or Captain, okay.
Sergeant Roby, would you want to come forward, identify yourself? Sergeant Roby. Deputy Roby.
Nick Roby, Daviess County Sheriff's Office. This year we're applying for the Justice Assistance Grant. We've been awarded $19,428. We hope to purchase 17 tasers, 17 batteries for the tasers, 1 data port downloading kit for them, and cartridges. It's a non-matching grant, and odd years the Sheriff's Office applies for the grant, even years the Owensboro Police Department does.
And that's an agreement between the sheriff and OPD?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to grant permission to apply for the grant. The next item will be the interlocal agreement with the City of Owensboro that we will use that money for that reason.
Yes, sir.
Commissioners?
I was just
question?
gonna ask, when y'all have training for that, is it true that you, in order to carry a taser, you have to be tasered first?
Whenever our training we had, it was conducted at the jail. We got the option to choose if we wanted to get the taser, applied to us. There's also different ways to do it, and it's called alligator clips. They stick it on your shirt. That way the prongs, don't poke you or anything, but it's the same effect, if not worse. I personally had it done myself.
In this grant, Commissioner, I noticed where they've said that this year they will use commissioners, and you're
First?
You came up. Any other question or comment? All right, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. And the next item?
G, interlocal agreement with the City of Owensboro regarding the 2017 JAG.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second, and prior to this, the last item, you understand what this is about. It just formalizes the agreement between the city and county regarding the use of those funds. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
H, report of viewers regarding the discontinuance of a portion of Old Wayne Bridge Road and to pay viewers.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and second. Mr. Engineer.
Yes, sir. If you would, I'll read the report of the viewers. It states, comes Mark Brasher, County Engineer, Terry Whitaker, and John Phillips, viewers, appointed by the Fiscal Court on August 3rd, 2017, and state that on August 9th, 2017, they visited the area of Old Wayne Bridge Road proposed to be discontinued, and in their opinion, no inconvenience would result to the public from the discontinuance of this road described in Exhibit A attached. Wherefore, the undersigned recommend to the court that the discontinuance of the portion of Old Wayne Bridge Road described in Exhibit A be approved. This, the 9th day of August, 2017, with my signature, Mark Brasher, Daviess County Engineer, Terry Whitaker, and John Phillips as viewers.
Commissioners, this accepts the report from the viewers and authorizes us to pay them, is it $25 each? $50 each? Okay. Glad that we didn't choose that they view it on August the 21st. Might have been a little hard. Question or comment? This also relates to the first reading of an ordinance on a little later on. Any question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I award the following bids. Bid number 26, 2017, asphalt sealing and crack filling. Bid number 27, 2017, Panther Creek Park lighting project. Bid number 29, 2017, one new manure spreader. Bid number 30, 2017, one new 15-foot no-till grain drill.
Commissioners, if I could have a motion to accept the bids, then in a second, then I'll ask the purchasing agent to go through each one, stop, see if there's any question or comment, kind of like we have done in the past.
Motion approved.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Judge. Starting with 26, 2017, the fiscal court received 2 bids for asphalt sealing and crack filling for the parking lots of the Daviess County Courthouse, Morton J. Holbrook Judicial Center, Operations Center, and East Daviess County Fire Station. Precision asphalt sealing of Rumsey, Kentucky is the lowest and best evaluated bid, having no exceptions to our bid documentation. We recommend award for the 4 locations in the amount of $14,800.
Commissioners, any question, comment? Question, comment by the public? Next item.
J, retirement resignation.
No, we still have some bids. Come on, Jenny, what's going on?
2017, the fiscal court received 3 bids for the lighting of Field 3 in Panther Creek Park. Norman King Electric Incorporated of Owensboro, Kentucky is the lowest and best evaluated bid, having no exceptions to our documentation. We recommend award for option 1, the metal halide solution, in the amount of $138,500.
Any question or comment? We had actually 2 bids, option 1 and option 2. Option 2 was for what?
An LED light source solution.
Okay, and we decided that we would not recoup the difference in cost in the lifetime of the project.
That is correct.
Any question or comment, Commissioners?
There's actually a long-term warranty on these.
On the halide.
That took away one of the reasons that we needed to do the other.
Yeah.
So,
Any question or comment by the public? Next bid number, Mr. Johnson.
29, 2017, the fiscal court received 2 bids for a new manure spreader for the West Daviess County landfill to be used in the land farming project. H&R Agri-Power Incorporated of Owensboro, Kentucky is the lowest and best evaluated bid, having no exceptions to our documentation. We recommend award for the 2017 New Holland 195 in the amount of $25,840.
Question or comment, Commissioners? You know, just a comment, when I first saw that, I wondered, well, which commissioner are we getting a bid on? But then I realized that that wasn't the type they were talking about. Question or comment by the public? Next bid, please.
30, 2017, the fiscal court received 2 bids for a new 15-foot no-till grain drill for the West Daviess County landfill to also be used in the land farming project. H&R Agri-Power Incorporated of Owensboro, Kentucky is the best evaluated bid, having no exceptions to our documentation. We recommend award for the 2017 Great Plains 1510 CPH in the amount of $51,739.
Mr. Johnson, that's about $3,000 lower than the lowest bid. What's the justification?
Yes, sir. The lowest bid had exceptions outside of the acceptable range. Let's see, the low bid does not have a center pivot hitch, nor does it have a hydraulic transfer system. Both are required to apply the adequate pressure needed to negotiate the contents of the terrain and drill evenly through the land at the landfill. We estimate that these exceptions were valued at roughly $19,000 with a differential of $3,080. We thought it prudent to recommend the next lowest.
Okay. Question, commissioners? Question or comment by the public? There being none, we have heard all of the bids and the recommendations. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You ready now? J.
Jay?
Retirement resignation, Assistant Fire Chief Stephen Fuquay, effective 8/31/2017.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. About all I can say, commissioners, is I want to congratulate the Assistant Fire Chief on his retirement and hopes he has a good life going forward. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
3 ordinances. A, first reading of KOC 620.47, 2017, 9/2017, an ordinance relating to the discontinuance of a portion of Old Wayne Bridge Road.
Commissioners, this is the first reading, as is the next ordinance, and we do not require a motion or second. We won't vote on it tonight, but we can discuss it. As you have heard on several items leading up to this is the final step in discontinuing that small sliver of Old Wayne Bridge Road and returning it to the adjacent landowner. Any question or comment? Next item. Or question or comment by the public? Next item.
B, first reading of KOC A 93, 2017, 10, 2017, an ordinance relating to the adoption of the 2017 Daviess County tax rates.
Commissioners, this is one of the things that we do every year. I'm going to ask the county treasurer to explain it to us and go through what we need to do.
Yes, Judge, the fiscal court every year must approve the tax rates for that year, even if they do not change. I received data from the state with the new assessments, and they calculate the compensating rate and the 4% rate. This year's compensating rate, which is defined as the rate that would yield the equivalent revenue to the prior year, stayed the same as the current real estate rate. So it's 13.5 cents per hundred. Again, that's the rate that we already are charging, so there'd be no change. I prepared the ordinance using that number. The personal property rate is a derivative of the real property rate, so I ran that through the calculation, and the personal property rate actually drops from $17.89 to $17.12. So I've prepared the ordinance. The real property rates, again, 13.5, personal property, $17.12. The motor vehicles that you pay in the county clerk's office are 17 cents. Watercrafts is 17 cents. Large non-commercial documented watercraft, 17.12. Aircraft, 17.12. Ag products, mostly tobacco and storage, 1.5 cents. Other ag products, 4.5 cents, and bank deposit tax, 2.5 cents. Again, there are no increases in any of the rates, only the decrease in the personal property due to the calculation. With that, this is the first reading, doesn't require a vote. Without second reading at the next court meeting.
Now, commissioners, that does not necessarily mean that we won't see some increase in revenues, because our tax rates are based, or the tax rates aren't, but our revenues are based on what the property valuation officer does to certain properties. There will be some people who will see an increase because I think they do a 25% reassessment of each part of the city and the county every year. So there will be some change in property, whether it be up or down, I don't know, but you probably will get some people who will say, well, yes, you did increase my taxes. Well, the fact is we didn't increase the rates, the value of the property went up. Mr. Treasurer, a couple of these we do not set. They are given to us by, we set them because we vote on them, but those rates are actually set by Frankfurt.
There's a much longer process for the motor vehicle and watercraft. You
Right.
can change them, but we have to go through the state. It's not as simple as just voting on them.
Right. And typically, for as long as I remember, both in city and county, we have accepted the rate that they set. Any question or comment?
I would like to make a comment.
Yes, sir.
I think I've made this comment before, but You know, these, I'm proud of the fact we're not changing the rates. I think it's important to remember that this process started a year ago, but it's accomplished daily by our employees. And so I think the fact that we have managed the operations like a business and the employees have done the same, and because of the hard work of the employees and the diligence, we were able to do what we're about to do, and that is not raise the taxes. So if any of the employees are watching, I want to just say we appreciate it and thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, commissioners? Question or comment by the public? Next item.
4, consideration for discussion. A, public comments.
This is a time during a meeting in which we ask anyone in the audience to come forward, identify themselves at the podium, and you're welcome to speak on any issue other than what was on the agenda. Yes, sir.
Thank you for allowing public comments. My name is Dr. Thomas J. Sabetta, Jr. I reside at 1830 Stratford Drive here in Owensboro, and I am speaking tonight both as a citizen and an Owensboro representative on the board of an organization called SaveOurArtHeritage.org. While this hasn't come up for the court, my philosophy is early bird gets the worm. That is, of course, if you like worms and you're not a red bird or a sparrow. But having said that, I am deeply concerned about this monument on the courthouse lawn. Primarily, if you all have watched YouTube and the television, you have seen the statue come down in Durham with a matter of minutes by a lady coming up and getting a rope around the neck and pulling the thing down. So one of the questions I have for you all this evening is, what is the insurance policy if this were to happen? If the thing were to get defaced or if it would be destroyed, is there an insurance policy on your umbrella policy to take care of that? That perhaps is a rhetorical question, but I'm thinking about that as I speak tonight. Our organization opposes moving this statue on 3 grounds. Number 1, it's against First Amendment rights. Number 2, it violates the freedom of assembly. And number 3, it's art censorship. So we would humbly suggest for consideration that we place another statue on the other side of the courthouse. Judge, unless I'm mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, there was an 1893 resolution at the Fiscal Court that allowed that a Union statue could come up on the other side of the courthouse, I believe in the back of the bust of Senator Ford. Am I right?
I don't know exactly where it would have been placed. That offer was made when this statue was placed. The offer was made to the Grand Army of the Republic, that organization, and they declined. The same offer was made as late as 2015 when we were celebrating, or actually 2012, when there was a newspaper article or 2 regarding the statue. Again, in 2015, when we celebrated our bicentennial, we placed a marker on the north side of the courthouse lawn memorializing the African-American Union troops who were housed in the courthouse, which was actually the reason the courthouse was burned, I think. The cost of a statue is extremely expensive, but, I mean, the offer is still there.
Okay.
I mean, it's there. We have, in the past, we have had if you want to place a memorial on the courthouse lawn and it's in good taste and it's relevant, that we would accommodate. Certainly, it always is at the discretion of the commission for fiscal court. But, I mean, we have quite a few markers out on the courthouse lawn right now.
Well, I have been today and yesterday in touch with both the United Daughters of Confederacy president and past president, and the camp commander in McLean County of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and they are of like mind that we would much rather see another statue dedicated to the other side, to the colored troops or Union statues, than this Confederate statue coming down in the interest not only of art, but of fairness. And we deplore the violence that has happened in Charlottesville and do not want to see it here in our community. But we think it's a reasoned argument that in all fairness and respect for both sides and all concerned, that another monument would be welcome either on the courthouse lawn or somewhere else, wherever it could be placed. But I could not find anybody for the Sons of Union veterans today, but we are in contact with them, and we will certainly discuss it with them.
Well, you know, just a couple comments. One of the things that I'm pleased in our community, regardless of the rhetoric that's on social media, and you always have those kinds of things going back and forth, the folks in this community have been very civil in their comments to me, and I think to the other commissioners, and in their emails, and we haven't received a great deal. I know there are some who have circulated petitions on social media. I don't know what status you give those, because I mean, people from as far away as California and New York and Tennessee and Florida are all going there, and that's not reflective of the attitude of our community. But I think all of the court would agree with you. We abhor that violence that occurred in Charlottesville. Do not want to see it here in this community, and I'm very pleased and thankful that so far it has been a civil discourse.
Well, as I said, I'm born and raised here. I grew up here, and it's always been a very civil community. We've never had any unrest. We've always worked our problems out. When I was a young man, my father was a district judge here. He was a juvenile judge, and so I have grown up with the respect of the law and of the judge, and it's always been a fine community.
I've been asked, where are we right now? And I'm going to tell you that fiscal court is monitoring the comments, the letters, and there has been absolutely no decision one way or the other. Sometimes the decision is to do nothing whatsoever. Yeah. So we continue to have that conversation in the community.
Well, as I speak today, I'll wrap it up, but as I speak today, my counterpart in Lexington, Sam Flora, is speaking before the Fayette County Urban County government while I'm in front of this podium, and they're making the same argument for the Breckenridge and the John Hunt Morgan statues for the same reason. But I think it will be helpful if we could do this. And your comment about all of the social media and the polls, the trouble with those is you cannot keep just the citizens involved in it. But the gentleman that was in the paper today that's organized this, he only has one point of view. He doesn't want to hear anybody that wants to keep the statues up.
Here's a simple fact, and I'll thank you for your comment. Fiscal court does not govern by polls. I don't believe the city commission governs by polls. Someone asked me how many signatures are necessary, and I said it's not about numbers of signatures.
Yeah.
So I've had several comments from people about how do we go about setting up a petition to retain the statue, and I suggested that they not waste their time.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's fine. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Okay. Anyone else from the public? I knew you were coming. Remember what I said about, let me hold on just a second. Come on.
I'm gonna make it short and sweet.
Okay.
I'm gonna flip you for it.
Okay.
You give me what I want.
And you'll take the statue?
No, you put one up. Hey, you put one up for me.
Oh, okay. We do not have enough money to cover the cost of the metal, though.
I got you now.
All right.
No, I'm Mayor Greg Bikey from Whitesville, and in our city park, we had an old bridge, and I'm thinking Fred Marksbury was the one who took it out on the Haines Station Road or one of them side roads. One lane bridge. It was condemned, and 20 years ago was put in the park. But it got in bad shape. Wasn't feasible to repair it, so we took it out. And the people in Whitesville wants a bridge back, and they want one back quick too. So I did apply for a grant, $13,500. We got a match at $13,500, which is $27,000. I didn't know if y'all can give me just a little bit of help. Now I'm asking for money. But reason being, at least 50 to 60, maybe 75% of the people that use that park are not city residents. You know, they're outside the county. Even the public school uses the park. And I'm asking for just a little bit of help. Is that too much? You got time to think about it. But I'll still flip you for it. You give me the money.
Here's what I'm going to suggest.
Yeah.
You need to talk to Mr. Johnson about another group that was in here asking for a little bit of help this morning. and then maybe come back and ask again. Mayor, I understand, and I will.
And you know money's tight, and I'm fully aware if it don't happen.
My question to you would be this: have you considered? And I understand the citizens want a lot of things, except they don't want you to raise.
We
their taxes.
could have went in with the cheaper bridge, but everybody wants to take the prom pictures there, their wedding pictures there, school pictures there, so they want something nice.
I understand.
You know.
I understand. First off, I'm not sure that, and I'm just speaking for myself.
Right.
We have helped Whitesville in many projects.
I know, and appreciate every bit of it
and
now,
I
guys.
know you do.
Yeah.
Something like the bridge, I think originally when it came out, it was anticipated to put back a pipe of some sort.
Right.
And
Which
all of a sudden, some citizens don't like it and they want better. I think I would find out just how much they want it and do a fundraiser up there and see how many funds.
Well, I'm in the process of doing one myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, out of my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But
a fundraiser?
Yes, in October.
Call me and I'll be happy to come up, and I'm
Right.
sure that some of the commissioners will be happy to come up
Yeah.
as well. The second way that sometimes when we've done projects, we've had to fund it over a 2-year period. In other words, do it toward the end of the first, through the end of one budget cycle and finish it in the other.
But I think
budget
his
cycle.
grant money's got to be used in a certain time frame.
And I understand what you're talking about. The question I would have, would you be able to take the grant money, match it, and do the engineering? I'm assuming they're gonna do. All right, David, you and Mark both sitting over there talking and not listening to what I'm talking about? Okay, yeah. Mark, for them to put a bridge, something more substantial than a pipe in, wouldn't they have to get an engineer to, I mean, I would recommend that they would get a professional or civil engineer and design it.
I would recommend that, yes.
So.
But the cost will be.
Well, the point that I'm making
Yeah.
is you use your grant money. I know where the cost is, but
Yeah.
that's what the folks want.
Yeah.
You know.
I understand.
And use the grant money and your match to pay for a portion of it and then start. I think probably the best thing I could suggest you do is to come back, take me out to lunch, and we might talk
There
a
you
little
go.
bit about it.
And while I'm here,
Sure.
we lost a business in Whitesville. I don't know if y'all aware of. BB&T's pulling out.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, they let us know yesterday,
Okay.
and they really helped us out.
Any other bank up there?
The Whitesville
Credit
Credit
Union,
Union.
yeah.
Yeah, but they've been there for a long time.
BB&T closing a lot of, I mean.
Yeah,
over
there's-
here, and
Yeah.
but they've been kind of tightening up. So.
Yeah, and that's part of business, I know.
Yeah,
But another thing, I want y'all to pray for Mike Nugent. Y'all remember the
Yes, Mayor
former
Nugent.
mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, he has a lot of medical trouble. They had to amputate his leg off
Oh, Lord.
yesterday.
I was not aware of that.
Oh, you'll keep him in his prayers. He
We
was a good
will.
man.
Thank you, Mayor, for
Yeah.
bringing that to us, and you'll probably may see him before we do, or his family, and tell them they are in
Yeah.
our prayers. Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for all you do.
Okay, anyone else from the public that doesn't want money? Next item. Next item. Have you forgotten where
I'm
you
lost.
are? Comments by Daviess County Fiscal Court, Commissioner Coger,
No comment.
Commissioner Wathen.
I actually made my comments about the budget.
Okay, Commissioner Castlin.
The only comment I wanted to make, and you didn't take a breath, so I didn't get a chance to, but when the ladies were here and you mentioned you had 7 sisters, I
Yes.
just wanted to tell them I had 7 sisters too.
I forgot. They weren't the same. Mine were mean, and I think yours are mean
Oh,
too.
No, mine were not mean, not to me.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
right.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay. That's why I was talking about that manure spreader. Just a couple comments. First of all, I do appreciate the very civil discourse that's been going on regarding the statute. While there are some folks who get very passionate and only see one side to an issue, there are always as many sides to an issue as there are people involved. It's as simple. Everybody once said there's always two sides to an issue. No, there could be 1,000 sides to an issue. And in the end, you folks have elected the four of us up here to govern the county. It's a representative form of democracy. You elect us to represent you, and you elect us to do what we think is best. You don't like what we do, you can throw us out. But that's the way it's the way it is. It's the way it's been. I think it's worked well, not just for Daviess County or the City of Owensboro, but it's worked well for our country, our state. And we've got a lot of pimples and blemishes, and most of us have family members, and we know where their pimples and blemishes are. But when you have people who are outside of that family, when you have people outside of this community, when you have people outside of the state and outside of the country, and they're breaking the doors down to get in, because from the outside, they see us as the bastion of democracy. They see us as a way to a better life. I think that we need to realize that what we have really is the best form of government and the best country in the world today. So I hope that people will remember that. And again, our thoughts and our prayers and our sympathy go out to those folks that were in Charlottesville who lost their lives or were injured. This Monday, a dark cloud, dark pall will come over this community. And it's not for what you think I'm about to say, Steve. My wife and I will have been married 46 years. 46 years. And we dated, believe it or not, 7 years before she found me worthy enough to accept that proposal. It's unusual that you find marriages that last that long. But she's a great gal. I love her to death. And she's the reason that I have the strength to stand up here and sit up here day after day and do the things that I do. There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember it, so that's probably a pretty good thing for you guys. I want to talk about September employee anniversaries. Our Assistant Parks Director, Candace Sturgeon, has been with us for 10 years. Commissioner Wathen and I were talking the other day. Candace does a great job. She does. We have a solid waste truck driver, Ricky White. Ricky's been here 10 years, and to my knowledge, he's never run off the road yet. Can you remember? It's not been reported. And Daviess County Fiscal Court Clerk, Jenny Warren. Oh, I'm sorry, Terry. Jenny Warren, and my executive secretary, has been with Fiscal Court for 20 years, and Jenny does a good job. So I want to congratulate all those employees, thank them for their years of service, and look forward to having many more days with them. If there's no other business to be brought before Daviess County Fiscal Court, without exception, we're adjourned.